All right, we got here is it's a 1964 Corvair. Corvair was a compact line of vehicles from Chevrolet, early 60s. Uh, the original intent was to make these cars compete against Volkswagen because they use a rear-mounted air-cooled engine. They used a rear-mounted air-cooled engine on these. Um, they didn't really last that long after like 1967. They got a bad reputation, which was unwarranted from the lawyer, Ralph Nader. He said that these cars were unsafe at any speed because they didn't have an engine in front to absorb the force of a collision, and that sort of ruined their reputation. But they were still relatively good cars. I mean, if you ask me, the real reason the Corvair succumbed to so the reason why it died in the 60s was because the Ford Falcon just was killing them out there. And so Chevrolet, they diverted energy from the Corvair into the Chevy 2, which became the Chevy Nova, and there was no more space for the Corvair to exist. That's, you know, there was a Chevrolet model of this Corvair, and then Pontiac made one too, and the Pontiac was called the Tempest, and the Pontiac differed from the Chevrolet is that it had a specific type of it had a specific transmission, which I can't remember right now. But somebody, one of you guys remember? It had a four-cylinder engine, and it had a transfer case or a transmission that was integrated into the engine. So you could find these as a Pontiac, but they're very rare. And then the other divisions didn't get one of these, but they did get a version of the Chevy too. You know, you got to understand. In the early '60s, Ralph McNamara and Ford Motor Company. I mean, not Ralph, Robert McNamara and the Ford Motor Company. They were selling like 500,000 Ford Falcons. Because it was just a practical car. So, the guys at Chevrolet and General Motors said, dang. And, this car wasn't even one of the top five sellers, I don't think. You had the Ford Falcon, and then you had the Rambler, Rambler Classic, a Rambler 660 or so. And then you had Plymouth with their new Valiant line, which was also in the subcompact size class. So, but this here is a two-door convertible. Uh, this would have been, let me see, something about an air-cooled engine, maybe a 2.5 liter, you know. So this one, it's a Monza. Yeah, see, yeah, this one is a Monza. Yeah, it's just relatively simple instrument cluster. Just got a fuel gauge and a speedometer. Yeah, if you're over here, so you have your vents in the trunk lid, which is actually the hood because the engine is under here. It's an air cooled engine, so it would dispense heat from here. So you can see those tail lights. That's a theme at Chevrolet. Found themselves on the Corvette, and they found themselves on several other compact models. The Camaro, the Vega. You know, they also similar style and design. We were on the Bel Air and the Biscayne throughout the '60s. Now, these cars really weren't that bad. It's just that, like I said, the Ford Falcon was just killing them out there, man. So you can get a version of this car with a Yanko. Yanko made a version of the Corvair. There's a lot of updates and options you can do to that rear air cooled engine. You got a turbo. If you look at Jay Leno, he's got a Monza with a turbo in it. Um, Very nice car. And these are out there. If you notice, I've this one is a convertible, but the other one that that I videoed was a coupe, two-door coupe, that was at the Fall Classic out there in Carlisle. So yeah, man, 1964 Corvair Monza convertible, very attractive car in hindsight.